Moritz, Alexandra just introduced you to Telefonica Next, which made me think, yesterday we had a speaker from Telefonica. Is that Telefonica past then? What's Telefonica Next?
I'm just smiling because similar discussions we had last year when we founded the Telefonica Next as an own subsidiary. And some of the very conservative brand people in Munich asked the same questions. Now, we needed a name which makes clear that we do not want to sell SIM cards. Our propositions are beyond connectivity. Yeah. And of course, Next is pretty generic, but it makes this difference. We are more than connectivity.
Yeah. So consumer IoT is the panel here about IoT. Typically in Germany is more associated with Industry 4.0, which broadly addresses the digitalization of the German economy. What is consumer IoT? And when I think about Echo and Fitbit, is that what we are talking about?
Those are the things we are talking about. And in Germany, as you rightly said, IoT does not ring a bell for anybody. Even in a business context, when we talk about, we are Industry 4.0, but for consumer side, this is then something where the people start, okay, this is what we are talking about. But in Germany, it really comes from the categories. So we do have mobility. We talked just a minute ago or yesterday on smart cars being smartphones on wheels. Then we have fitness. Yesterday with Sophia, we were talking about how smartphones help you to be more fitter and things like that. Smart home, those are the categories. Yeah. And the IoT is umbrella around it.
So what does Telefonica Next do in this space?
So we are building a platform which in the end puts the consumer in the center of this consumer IoT propositions and allow him always to know what devices are generating what data and whom do I want to share this data with regards to getting a new over-the-top service.
Over the top, meaning?
Over the top meaning that if you take, for example, a Fitbit, I mean, many of you have Fitbits, and I guess a lot of you use them for the first 3-4 days, and then they somewhere disappeared in your wardrobe. If you take such a device, it comes with the hardware and the software. Most of the times you either like the hardware or the software. Even if you do like both and you need it or you use it in the beginning, this device could do much more. It could be a perfect data provider for a kite surfing app. It could be a perfect provider for a service like connecting your heartbeat from your fitness device with your Sonos. If you're doing your workout and you're not practicing hard enough, then the beats per minute go up. Something like this would be possible if the Fitbit device provider would open up you with the possibility to share your data with other services.
So we have all the pieces in the puzzle, but no one's connecting it yet. Is that what it is?
Yes, and unfortunately, a lot of the decision makers are not in the mindset that the consumer is in charge of his data. A lot of the companies in the beginning, now more and more are more open, say, okay, it's not my consumer data, it's the consumer who owns the data. And when they buy into this why, which we strongly believe into, then they start thinking of what would be possible on top.
So, but when I was in a VC fund years ago, I saw deals that would address exactly that issue. They would say users could monetize their data and somehow earn money on this. Is that what you're proposing?
I mean, if you talk about, or if you see the CPMs, CPX, or CPOs, I do not know whether I want to share my data.
Wait. That was a lot of buzzwords.
So it's a cost per million, per order, or per click, which is a currency for online advertising.
I have an idea on buzzwords and techno speak. You guys know Big Bang Theory, the show? Anyone? Raise the arm. Big Bang Theory? Okay, so there was an episode where Sheldon, our hero, discovered the Whip app, right?
Okay.
Can you hear that? Okay, so we're going to do that whenever you use buzzwords or techno speak.
But you have to do it when you do it as well.
Okay, I agree. Let's try and then we're going to count it.
The other way around. The question was about monetization of my data. And I think monetization does not have to be a currency of euros, because how the internet advertising world works, I would get only a couple of cents or euros for 1 year of data providing when I'm driving with my car through Germany. I'm talking about getting back in return additional services. And if you buy into this idea that, if you take, for example, Sophia yesterday, our fitness lady, she would be possible for her to launch a workout plan without investing into hardware. And if I'm a fan of Sophia and she's asking me, Moritz, do you want, or perhaps Steffi, my wife, do you want to be part of my workout plan? And if you do have a Strava, a Fitbit, not a Fitbit, but a Withings device, and you allow the device, the data, to share it with my Sophia app, then this is something which gives additional value to the Fitbit device because there's another service being able to be used with. And Sophia can offer something new, and I'm a consumer, are happy to share with Sophia this data.
Right, and so the McFit around the corner could do the same thing.
They could do the same thing,
build their own app and integrate that with other
and especially
devices.
it's that they could really work from really personalized workout plans, analyzing not only the calories you're burning when you are in this torture area of McFit, but also counting all your steps and things like that you're doing the entire day.
So we're in the country of data protection. Everywhere else it's called privacy policy. In Germany it's data protection, privacy policy, right? And GDPR being around the corner as the... Is that
GDPR, I think it is a buzzword, isn't it? Yes, so...
Okay, sorry, I can't... So, the magic four-letter word being around the corner. What does that mean for someone who aggregates consumer data, like you're proposing in that Telefonica Next platform?
Yeah, a good question. I think normally you could say there is no worse country and no worse industry in the world to launch a data-driven business than being a telco in Germany. But on the other side, if you always look what's in it for my customer, my end user in the end, as I said before, if I am able to share to control whom I want to share this data with, then we do have a lot of similarities, a lot of things in common between our approach and the data protection law which is in front of us. Yes, with regards to execution, what do I have to build for features? How fast do I have to delete all the data and things like that? This is something which is perhaps difficult, not only for us, but even more difficult for established CRM systems to establish those legal terms now. But in the end, I would say our why is very, very close to the why of this law, and therefore we can turn it into an asset and make a difference also beyond Germany.
I think that's the magic word, because for the Americans in the room, even if you are from America and you don't even have a legal presence in Europe, if you have customers in Europe, that new law applies to you as well. And so I work with a company called Hotjar, which is actually a European company, and we do in-page analytics and feedback. So we record what visitors do on website as a service to the website owner, so they can optimize their website. And what we also discovered when we looked at GDPR in detail is that it would allow us, if we build it into the technology and the product, that it would allow us to have a competitive advantage over other services that would not build this into their product, which presumably most American services, they're not going to completely change their product. So it's not a legal discussion, but it is more a product and technology discussion in anonymization. So we're taking anonymization to a next level. And that is, I think, what you're saying. It's an asset. It can be an asset. It can be a competitive advantage.
Yeah. And I think to add one more thing to what you just said is, especially we in Germany, we always, when we talk about data privacy, we talk about trial barriers. We are addressing the negative things about it. I think we all should more talk about what's possible as a gain point, not to address a pain point. So it's really like, what if you could be, you could share your data? What if you, for example, if you take a fault detection device which is bought on Amazon, which you give to your granny at home, what if you, together with your granny, could put a setup that if she's leaving the home and the stove is still on, that you are getting as the son or as the daughter a message, hey, granny left apartment and the stove is still on. Do you want me to switch it off now? And do you want me to make a rule out of it? Then we are in a way that smart home or consumer IoT really makes sense. It's part of our life, and we do not have super complex setups.
And it feels like it solves real problems, real tangible problems, even though they may be considered fringe cases. They're actually solving real problems.
Yeah, and the OEM, the manufacturer of the first device which you're entering this world with, they do not have to take care of all those use cases. They can concentrate on their core business. I was really happy yesterday and the BMW colleague when he said that they want to concentrate on their core business. They do not want to take care of the restaurants, advertising the restaurants or doing some other stuff which does not have any link with driving safety or with a BMW with a lot of fun from A to B. Those things can be done with those over-the-top players. And I'm always like to use a picture from Christoph Käse, and I guess some of you who joined here or came here with a taxi, Christoph Käse is using a picture made in a taxi in Berlin where you have a lot of screens in the taxi from, yes, there's a tachometer, but a lot of smartphones and tablets, and all of them have different apps running on, and the only black screen in the car is the one from Mercedes-Benz. So, and this is really something which shows us, to some extent, as we do have in our own history with the SMS revenues, there is no way to lock in your consumer in such a one-to-one relationship.
So that means the platform that you're building and opening up very soon, is that something that I as a user would go to and manage my data, or is that something where a developer would go to and connect various data streams in order to offer a new app for something?
Yeah, so you would not come directly to Genie and then look what's possible here. You're coming through us with the first proposition, coming with a hardware or coming with a software only. If you take again Sophia, and if she is developing, which is very easy for us, with us, because we have a strong developer focus, if she's developing with some friends or some of the interns from the great university initiatives we have seen before, if she's developing such an over-the-top service, as we call them, and she's then advertising it into her fan base, this would be the first touch point for you if you want to download such an app with Genie. And then Genie is more kind of ingredient like Intel inside, which gives you then the connections what's possible with your devices on top.
So there's one more thing that is important and dear to my heart as an investor in startups. You've acquired actually a startup, so a German corporate acquired a German startup, which doesn't happen too often. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so this is the other proposition we are building and selling in Telefonica Next, which is about big data analytics. So we do have in Germany more than 40 million customers which are doing, I do not how much billion networks events per day. And this data is of particular value for cities, for retailers, as yesterday we heard in the retail panel. But we have this network data only outside. So we know who's living where, how he commutes to his workplace and things like that. And MeNotes, the company we acquired here in Germany, they're working with in-store data which is generated via WLAN. And if you combine those two data sets, it's a very powerful insight for the retailers. It's not about what we talked yesterday, then I am chased by advertising, things like that. This is something which is possible based on the technology as well. Yeah. The first step is really about the intelligence those big data sets provides in order to give offline retailers back the weapons from the online retailers.
All right, great. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time, Moritz, and thank you.